Good morning, students. Today we'll discuss the topic strategic evaluation and control. And the learning objectives of today's discussion would be limited to the understanding the meaning of strategic evaluation and control, discussing the various types of strategic control, understanding operational control. And then we'll discuss the process of evaluation, and towards the end of lecture, we'll discuss the various techniques of strategic evaluation and control. So let's start with understanding the concept of strategic evaluation and control. Strategic evaluation and control constitutes the final phase of strategic management. It starts with setting up strategic intent and it ends up with the strategic evaluation and control. So it is the last step in the strategic management process. So strategic evaluation operates at two levels. The first level is called strategic level and the second level is called operational level, and we'll be discussing these in detail later on in the discussion. So the definition of strategic evaluation and control, this is the process of determining the effectiveness of a given strategy in achieving the organizational objectives and taking corrective action wherever required. So as I told you that this is the concluding phase in the strategic management process. Initially, we have set up the intent, we have defined the vision, mission, goals and objectives. Now, this is the last step wherein we'll be checking whether the strategy we have just implemented has been able to achieve the objectives that was set up, or if not, what were the reasons, so that we can take the corrective steps so that it won't happen in the future again. Now, we'll discuss, as I told you, that the strategic evaluation and control operates at two levels. The first level we are going to discuss is the strategic control. So, strategic control is a type of control which takes into account the changing assumptions that determine a strategy. So it continually evaluate the strategy as it is being implemented and take the necessary steps to adjust the strategy to the requirements. So it is a kind of strategic control. Strategic control is a kind of control that is being exercised while the strategy is being implemented, so that we want to check that whether the assumptions we have assumptions we had taken into account while formulating the strategy, whether those assumptions hold true even now or not. And if changes are required, then accordingly the changes are being made. So there are four basic types of strategic control. The first one is the premise control. So the premise control, um, as I told you, that every strategy is based on certain assumptions about the environmental and the organizational factors. And some of these factors are highly significant, and the change in any one of these factors may affect the strategy to a large extent. So, premise control is necessary to identify the key assumptions and keep track of any change in them as to assess their impact on strategy and its implementation. Then next is the implementation control. The implementation of a strategy results in a series of plans, programs, and projects. So, and afterwards, the resource allocation is done for implementing these. So, this particular type of control is aimed at evaluating whether the plans, programs, and projects are actually guiding the organization towards its predetermined objectives or not. If it anytime it is felt that commitment of resources to a plan, program, or a project would not benefit the organization as it has been imagined, then it need to be revised. So it is based on two methods, strategic thrust and the milestone review approach. First, a method that is monitoring strategic thrust. Um, Thr- Thrust approach means critical action steps or stages are identified as thrust, which need to be constantly monitored to assess the impact of change in any of these on the implementation process. We can give an example here for launching a new product. The first are concept development, product development, and test marketing. So, on the basis of the implementation position in each of these three stages, the product may be modified or product launch may be deferred. So, in the second method, in the milestone review approach, all the critical are identified all the critical activities or the stages are identified as the milestones, and each milestone has a cost factor and time factor associated with it, and then these milestones are assessed in terms of these two parameters, that is cost and the time associated. Next is the strategic surveillance. To monitor a broad range of events inside and outside the company that are likely to threaten the course of a firm's strategy, this strategic surveillance is undertaken. Through strategic surveillance, a company can keep control over organizational factors, industry factors, and also on the major environmental factors. Monitoring is done with respect to any of these factors. Special alert control is based on trigger mechanism for rapid response. Strategic surveillance and implementation control may not be sufficient for all the situations. For some extraordinary developments or some serious conditions, special alert control is necessary. And this type of control is triggered by developments that are more sudden and serious than mentioned earlier. So, it refers to the contingency or crisis situations such as an industrial disaster, sudden fall of government, natural catastrophes like floods, earthquakes, etc. Special alert control works through a contingency plan or strategy which partially or wholly replaces the original strategy and the plan of implementation. Next is the operational control. So operational control is a type of control that is aimed at allocation and use of organizational resources through valuation of the performance of organizational units such as divisions or the strategic business units, etc., to assess their contribution to the achievement of organizational objectives. So we can say that this is concerned with action or performance, and this is probably the reason why it is extensively used in organization. Now we'll be discussing the process of evaluation. It starts with setting standards of performance, then measurement of performance, followed by an analysis of variances, and last one is it is concluded by taking the corrective actions. So let's discuss the first step, that is setting standards of performance. Strategists encounter the three questions while dealing with standard setting. First is what standard should be set. Second is how should these standards be set? And third is in what terms would these standards would be expressed? So a three-pronged basic approach to standard setting could be used to settle these issues, and this includes first is the key managerial task derived from the strategic requirements can be analyzed for finding out the key areas of performance. Standards can then be set in each of these key result areas. Secondly, the special requirements for the performance of the key task can help to determine the type of standards to be set. And thirdly, performance indicators that best express the special requirements could then be decided upon to be used for evaluation. So applying this approach to the case of company which adopts a market development strategy, it can be said that one of the key managerial tasks is to expand market presence and enhance market visibility. The special requirement is to raise the overall market share, And two indicators that could satisfy the requirements could be increase in sales volume and efficiency of sales force. So we could set up the quantitative criteria or the qualitative criteria for checking the performance. And then second step is the measurement of performance. So the evaluation process operates at the performance level as action takes place. The actual performance is depicted when a dotted boundary and is not a part of the evaluation process. Standards of performance act as the benchmark. So means the standards we set at the first step acts as the benchmark against which the actual performance is to be compared. So it is important to understand how the measurement of performance can take place. The information system is the key element in any measurement exercise. Operationally, measuring is done through the accounting, reporting, and communication systems. Next is analyzing variances. The measurement of actual performance and comparing it with standard or budgeting performance leads to the analysis of variances. So generally three type of situations may arise. First is the actual performance matches the budgeted performance, which rarely is the case. Second is the actual performance is better, or the third case is the actual performance is below. So we can say the very first situation is ideal, but it is not realistic. It rarely happens. So in practice, the actual performance rarely matches the budgeted performance. So uh, in case the second condition, the actual performance is better, so the company need not take any action in that scenario. But when the actual performance falls below the standard performance, then obviously it means that there are variances which needs to be taken care of. And last step or the concluding step in the process of evaluation is the taking corrective actions. Taking a corrective actions means that in case the company feels that there are variances between the standard set and the actual performance, then they need to find out what are the reasons for these variances. And then means according after finding out the reasons of the variances, the company can take some corrective actions so that it don't happen in the future. Next is the techniques of strategic evaluation and control. So strategic evaluation and control, as I have already told you, that it operates at two levels. One is called strategic control and second is called operational control. The techniques of strategic control are the strategic momentum control and strategic leap control. And the techniques of operational control can be classified into three categories: internal analysis, comparative analysis, and the comprehensive analysis. So the first one is strategic momentum control. So this type of evaluation techniques are aimed at assuring that the assumptions on the basis of which strategies were formulated are still valid. So, and what needs to be done in order to allow the organization to maintain its strategic momentum. For achieving these aims, there are three techniques which can be used. The first one is responsibility control centers. What are the responsibility control centers? Responsibility control centers are those centers that form the core of management control system. And these responsibility control centers can be classified into four categories, which is revenue, expenses, profit, and investment. So each of these center is designed on the basis of the measurement of inputs and outputs. The study and application of responsibility center is done under the discipline of management control systems. Second is underlying success factors. Underlying success factors or key success factors or critical success factors are those factors which are essential for the success of the organization. And these factors enable organization, and this particular means method helps the organization to focus on the critical success factors. And by managing the critical success factors, the strategist can continually evaluate the strategies to assess whether or not these are helping the organization to achieve its objectives or not. Next is the generic strategies. Strategies approach to strategic control is based on the assumption that the strategy is adopted by firms similar to another firms are comparable. So based on such a comparison, a firm can study why and how other firms are implementing particular strategies and assess whether or not its own strategy is following a similar path or not. So in this context, we can say that the role of strategic group is quite important. The second category of strategic control techniques are strategic leap control. So organizations are required to make strategic leaps in order to make significant changes when the environment is relatively unstable. And strategic leap control assists the organizations by helping to define the new strategic requirements and to cope with the emerging environmental realities. So there are four type of techniques of evaluation that can be used for exercising the strategic sleep control. The first one is strategic issue management, which is aimed at identifying one or more strategic issues and assessing their impact on the organization. So a strategic issue could be defined as any forthcoming development either inside or outside the organization which is likely to have an important impact on the ability of the enterprise to meet its objectives. Second set of technique is strategic field analysis, which is a way of examining the nature and extent of synergies that exist or are lacking between the components of an organization. Synergies means that the sum of the individual is means it means that 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. So that means that the sum total of two particular items is better than the result of the individual efforts. So this is called synergy. Next is the systems modeling. So it is based on computer-based models that simulate the essential features of the organization and its environment. And through the using systems modeling, the organizations may exercise pre-action control by assessing the impact of the environment on the organization through the adoption of a particular strategy. And the last type of strategy is called scenarios. Scenarios are perceptions about the likely environment a firm could face in the future. Let's explain it with the help of an example. In case the organization is going to launch a new product, there are different scenarios that can occur in response to this particular event. That new product may become quite popular among the masses. It may not be able to gain significant attention, or it may take some time to gain the significant attention. So accordingly, these are the various scenarios, and while formulating strategies, the company should look for the various scenarios that can occur, and they should form a plan according to each of these scenarios. Next comes the technique of operational control. The techniques of control can be broadly classified into three categories: internal analysis, comparative analysis, and third is comprehensive analysis. So each of these set of techniques can be further divided into the number of techniques. So we'll be discussing these in detail. So internal analysis has techniques like Virio framework, value chain analysis, quantitative analysis, qualitative analysis. Under comparative analysis, we have techniques such as historical analysis, industry norm, benchmarking. And in the comprehensive analysis, we have techniques such as key factor rating, business intelligence systems, and the balance scorecard. Let's first of all discuss the techniques of internal analysis. So, internal analysis uh, means comparing the performance internally. So, in Virio framework, basically, this is this is a technique to give the answer to the question whether the resources that the organization has are valuable, rare, inimitable, or organized. So, if the resource or capability of the organization has these qualities, then it can lead to the sustained competitive advantage. So, if it is not valuable, that means it will lead to the competitive disadvantages. If it is not rare, that means there will be no competitive parity. It will be same as compared to the competitors. So the customers will not be able to differentiate it from their competitors. If it is inimitable, if it is not inimitable, so some what it be able to give temporary competitive advantage, but in long run, the competitors will be able to imitate if it is organized or not. So means if a particular resource or capability has these characteristics, it is valuable as it is rare, it is inimitable as well as organized. So um, having these characteristics in a particular resource or capability will help the organization to gain competitive advantage. The second is value chain analysis. Value chain analysis focuses on a set of interlinked value creating activities that are performed in a sequence for producing or marketing a product or service. So, the utility of value chain for the purpose of operational evaluation lies in its ability to segregate the total task of a firm into identifiable activities. So basically, it is divided into two different category of activities. There are some primary activities. Primary activity deals with the transformation process. So herein we have important logistics that relates to getting in the raw material to the organizational premises. Then operations are undertaken over the raw material then there is the outbound logistics. Outbound logistics deals with carrying the final good to the final consumers, and then we have marketing and sales efforts, and then we have the after sales services. These primary activities can not be undertaken alone until and unless it has some supportive activities. And to support these primary activities, company perform a set of different activities which are firm's infrastructure, its human resources, and the technology development and the procurement. So, uh, means these the result of these value creating activities will be some cost. And if we add margin to it, will specifies how much profit we can take. So means our profit or revenues will depend upon the value we have added in to the product or service in this value chain. Next is the quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis takes up the financial parameters and the non-financial quantitative parameters uh, in order to assess the performance. Then we have qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis supplements the quantitative analysis by including those aspects which are not feasible to measure on the basis of figures and numbers. So the methods that can be used for qualitative analysis are based on intuition, judgment, and informed opinion. So techniques such as surveys or the experimentation can be used for the evaluation of performance for exercising operational control. Next is the comparative analysis techniques. Comparative analysis techniques are those wherein we'll be comparing our performance with um, something or means the other company's performance or with our own performance. So the various techniques that can be used under the comparative analysis, the first one is historical analysis. Historical analysis is a frequently used method for comparing performance of a firm over a given period of time. So this particular method has the added benefit of enabling a firm to note how the performance has taken place over a period of time and to analyze the trend or pattern, because herein the company is comparing its performance with its own performance in the past years. Second is the industry norm. So under industry norm, uh, herein the comparison is made with the company's own performance and the industry norms. Next is the benchmarking. So it is a technique wherein the firm finds the best practices in an area and then attempts to bring its own performance in that area in line with uh, the best practice. So benchmarking can be further subclassified on the basis of two questions. First is what to compare. So when the company compare its strategies with the other company strategies, it is called strategic benchmarking. When company compare its performance, that performance in terms of market share or in terms of revenues with its competing organization, then it is called performance benchmarking. And when something that is compared is the processes followed by the organization, then it is called process benchmarking. The second criteria that is used to classify the benchmarking is with whom to compare. So on the basis of this, benchmarking could be classified into four categories. Internal benchmarking is where the performance is matched with its own past performance. Competitive benchmarking is wherein the company is comparing its performance with the competitors. Then functional benchmarking is wherein one functional area is comparing its performance with the other functional areas. Generic is means herein no specific target is taken. Company can compare its performance or the strategy or process with anywhere outside the organization. Now, the next set of techniques that can be used for strategic evaluations are called comprehensive analysis. So, in all the earlier techniques, the only the criteria for evaluation was limited to one or two things. But in comprehensive analysis, attempt is made to include as many factors that can be included. So the first technique under comprehensive analysis is called key factor rating. So key factor rating is a method that takes into account key factors in various areas and then sets out the to value the performance on basis of these. So this is quite a comprehensive method because it takes a holistic view of the performance areas in the organization. Second is called business intelligence system. It is one of the concepts used for discovering knowledge from various internal and external data repositories available in the organization, and it helps in exercising effective decision making. By itself, business intelligence systems are meant for exercising operational control, but they have the potential to act as a valuable inputs of information that can be used for operational control. And the last technique that can be used for strategic for exercising operational control is called balanced scorecard. So balanced scorecard is based on the identification of four key performance areas, which are termed as the customer perspective, financial perspective, internal processes, and learning and growth perspective. So the method is a balanced approach to performance measurement, as there are a range of parameters that are taken into account for evaluation. So customer perspective is the answer to the question, how our customers view us. Financial perspective is the answer to the question, how our shareholders view us. And then learning and growth is related to the research and development activities, and internal processes are related to the internal performance of the organization. So students, that's all about the strategic evaluation and control. Hopefully you have understood the concept, and we'll meet again in the another session to discuss some other topic. Thank you so much.